pulled out the gun. I hit the black guy in the back of the head with the tip of the gun and pulled the trigger. What I really wanted to do when I got my hands on some money is I wanted to go on a little vacation. George was living in Canada, growing weed in Canada. I went up there for the Beastie Boys concert, and that was a fucking amazing experience. So, on my way to Canada, and, at that time, I was a low-level weed guy. I would probably, hook people up with quarter pounds, at the same time that I was, getting mine type of deal or something like that. And I might have been fooling around with, a pound or something like that. I was selling weed. I had these, so the glassblowing crew that we were in this shop, the one guy that was Dragon Tail, he, when the shop disintegrated, I don't know what he did, and that was, literally the last time I ever saw that guy. But the other guy, John Lance, I stayed in contact with. Now, there was this group of people that were connected through Wilson High School that way back in the day, I was slinging to this dude that went to Wilson High School. He was he knew I can't remember how I met this guy. I probably met him through all those people that I met when it started way back on the houseboat at the Rose Festival, when we docked up with this boat, and there was these girls that were my age on the boat, and I hung out with them and stayed friends with them for years, and they went to Wilson, and that's kind of how I met a bunch of people that went to Wilson. And those girls were a couple years younger than me. The guy was maybe even a little younger than them, maybe. So he turned out to be one of my biggest workers. And I could just, give him whatever, quarter pound of weed, and he would freaking sell it all and give me all the money. That was when I was early, young 20s. So now years later, 5 or 6 years later now, some more of these Wilson guys, this dude, Nick Singer, and then this other guy, Nick Raptis. Boy, the name's just coming back. I think I knew Nick Singer through Rachel and that whole crew of people. I had met him or something like that. I had worked for him at the coast on a family house that he was buying houses and flipping them and selling them when he was young. That dude had his shit going on. I just told him about the fucking the loan shit, and he did that shit on his own, but it just, because it went through the same shit, he got heat for that shit too. And then they fucking told him that I was telling on him, which wasn't true at all. And then I'm thinking about all the people who told and all the bullshit in that whole case. It's just so fuck. Well, every single person fucking told. The whole, it was insane. The feds come in and start threatening people with 20 fucking years and shit. They're 18 years old, and they ain't done nothing but sign a fucking piece of paper. And they just shit themselves. Not one of them ripped shit off, or intended to rip shit off. They were just trying to have some money to use. So anyway, I was, so this Nick Raptis dude, he had a girlfriend, and that was a weird relationship. He was kind of one of those rich kids. So he's getting a bunch of money. He was like a chess genius too, like a competitor on the next level, just brilliant on that. I heard some fucked up rumors about him, but I'm not going to repeat any kind of bullshit like that I can't confirm and I have no interest in. I was hooking up a lot of weed to this dude, And, you know, it's back in the illegal days, although we had passed medical, but the feds didn't give a fuck. When we passed medical, they fucking ramped that shit up against us. Oh yeah? You want to fucking pass medical? We're Nazis. We're gonna fucking step on your heads and take your shit because we're Nazis and that's what we fucking do. Yeah. I'm sure somebody's gonna grab that shit and then they're gonna re-edit it with some more shit that I said, and they're gonna make this whole crazy video that makes me look like a total racist. But you know what? Pre-fuck you for doing that. I would go over to this dude's house and I'd ride my bike or I'd take the bus, go over there and just do shit like bong hit competitions and shit, like who could take the biggest bong hit, and just smoking mad weed, right? So he was my main hookup. But then I also had this dude Cedar that I could get. Cedar was kind of like he was kind of an arrogant asshole and a little bit hard to fucking get to come over and shit. John and Nick were pretty inseparable. I mean, they were just like road dogs. Nick had like money from family or something like that, like inheritance or rich parents or some shit. He had capital to get weed. He could buy pounds and pounds and pounds, and he was a pretty big baller. He was slinging pretty big weight. He had all kinds of other shit going on. I mean, I could go over there and get whatever I needed whenever I needed from him. I met this one dude, this white dude, and why did I call him the white dude? Well, I don't know his name. I met him at Tyner's house. I was selling Tyner weed. He was selling Tyner like crack or coke. So this dude and I changed numbers. And then I like run into him like a few weeks later at Sassy's, like during the day I'm in there. And you know, we're talking and he's like, yeah, I need, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the profit margin was still all fucked up back then, and I was blowing glass. That was where my money was coming from. I just slung weed to make a little profit, help friends out. I had medical patients, and just be able to smoke for free, you know? So this guy fucking hits me up, you know, no big deal. So then he goes, I need 2 pounds. I'm like, all right. Now, at that time, I carried guns. 1 gun, sometimes 2 guns. On that occasion, I had 2 guns. We were at the warehouse. We had the glass shop. And it had like a loading bay on the side. And I told the dude to just pull in there, and I'd dump in there and right there, and we'd be cool. I was up on the roof with Nick and fucking John. I had 2 guns on me, and I fucking jokingly was like, yeah, I got 2 guns, 1 for each pound, blah, blah, blah. So I go, here's a gun. If anything happens, shoot at these guys right down there. I go down, I get in the car, and the dude immediately pulls out and starts driving. I don't think nothing of it, really. He pulls into this little spot that he probably already pre-checked out, that is basically like a house that sits right on a corner, and then it has a paved parking lot, so it's like a house converted into a business that goes in an L from one street to the side street, right around it, right? So he pulls in this in the side, and I've got a backpack. He's like, let me see the weed. And I open the bag, and he looks, and he says, cool. And he reaches in the glove box, and he hits the fucking trunk unlocker thing several times. And I was like, I'm just gonna win. So he's like, the money's in the trunk. And I'm like, okay, so the money's not in the car. He's getting out of the car. He's going to be back there behind me doing shit in the trunk out of my view. I don't like that. So I get out of the car and I go stand right next to the trunk. he's like, oh, hey, let's get that out of the bag so we can just swap it out really quick. The trunk opens, grab the cash, throw the bag in there, because there was a bag in my backpack that had the weed in it, right? Because I didn't want to just pull weed out of my backpack, you know, and I didn't want to give him my backpack, so I had a bag in a bag. He now has that bag, the trunk opens, and there's a fucking dude in the trunk that turns around and points the gun right at me, and he's got this big 45. He's like, drop the bag, motherfucker. Dude's like, I got it. The dude in the trunk, which, okay, the dude in the trunk was a black guy, and the dude outside of the trunk was a white guy. The white guy had on white pants. Probably some of the trunk cracked open. The guy would know where to aim the gun. Because who the fuck wears white pants? Fucking, after pulling a gun on me, pointing at a gun at me, puts the fucking gun down and turns his, like, he's like that out of a trunk, and then he gets out of the trunk by rolling over the other direction and putting the gun down, like, I guess he wanted, in his mind, he was getting the gun far away from him. And I would imagine that neither one of these guys thought that I carried guns, so they probably didn't even think that was going to be a problem. Well, guess what? Yeah, I've got one of these Makarovs, which is this cheap Walther PPK Russian-made knockoff that flooded the 90s, or flooded the country in the early 90s when Russia became capitalists. Here, cheap guns, comrade. I carried that gun in my pants every day with a bullet in the chamber. Pretty much the same bullet all the time. And the one weird, and it was the bullet that it would chamber was a 380 round. It's a little bit smaller than a 9mm. It's a bullet about like that. Whoop. Okay, so I go into autopilot here, and autopilot comes from, I have no effing clue, because I was never in the military. I mean, I guess I just fucking watched so many goddamn movies that it's just like, okay, this is how a gun battle fucking goes down. I don't know. But basically, it was like, as soon as that guy put that gun down, I pulled my backpack up in front of my belly so they couldn't see what my right hand was doing. And my right hand was dropping the safety and pulling out my fucking gun. And I pulled out the gun. I hit the black guy in the back of the head with the tip of the gun and pulled the trigger. And then I, almost in the same fucking swoop, from the guy in the trunk up to the guy here standing next to me, hit him in the face, the jaw area, with the barrel of the gun, right in the fucking, right, pulled the trigger. Wham, wham. Both those motherfuckers are still alive because the fucking bullet in the chamber was a dud. Yeah, lucky me, I would be a double murderer right now. Well, self-defense, who fucking knows? Anyway, but now it was Donkey Kong time, because now they saw and felt that I had a gun and was attempting to fucking use it. Well, the 45 this other motherfucker had, it worked just fine. So he comes out swinging around like this, and I'm like this, and this is the fucking gun here going off, kapow, kapow, and I stuff my gun back up in his face again, click and click, 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 click. I got PTSD with that shit fucking for years, that fucking just motherfucker not going off, right? Now, people since that, you know, train and all this stuff, you know, like, your gun doesn't work, you hit it. Like, whop! Fast as fuck. And then you kill people. Well, so at that point, I'm clicking away, and so is he, but his shit's going off and mine ain't. I duck down to the passenger side of the car. He ducks on the driver's side of the car. I'm up against the driver's side down, or on the passenger side down, behind the tire, crunched down. He's fucking shooting at me over the top of the car, and I see the concrete exploding in front of me. And at that point, I'm like, man, I'm a fucking sitting duck. And I'm like, I gotta run. And I'm like, if I run, because I'm between I'm between buildings on a street, right? So here we are, here's the car. If I run out onto the street and I run away from him, he could just shoot me right in the fucking back, no problem, because I'll be running straight at him. But maybe I'll be able to get around the corner. This shit's all going through my brain in like fucking 5 seconds. I opt to run the other way, exposing myself to fire because I'm running now in front of the car and past the driver's side and behind the building on the other side. Because that way he only has this window to shoot me between the front of the car and the building. And I haven't been counting his shots, but he's been shooting, and so I fucking run, and I just run, and I get around that building, and the first thing I do is jack out the dead round out of the gun, come back around the fucking gun. The dude has shut the trunk and got in the car, and I just unload on the front of the car. I mean, I just dump the whole clip, which is like 7 or 8 rounds, right into the driver's side windshield of the car. And I dip back around the corner. I drop that magazine. I had an extra magazine and a little pouch on the side in my belt. I pop that one in. I come back around the corner, and they're gone. Both of them gone. The car's there. No keys. I'm looking. I'm like, I got this gun. I'm like, dude had grabbed my backpack. That's right. When all this scuffle shit started, he fucking grabbed my backpack. The white dude grabbed my backpack and ran around the corner when the gunfight started. So now I'm there, and the fucking weed's in the trunk, but no way to get it open. I'm thinking about shooting it open. At that moment, I look over here, and there's this guy in this fucking bicycle just standing there in the street, just watching. And I'm like, oh fuck. Then I start to hear sirens, and I'm like, oh fuck. I start to run, and I come around a corner, and as I come around the corner, there the dude is, right across the street. So I go into autopilot tunnel vision mode, and I'm drawing up on him, and all I can see is just him. It's just a tunnel. Like, he's dead. I got him. I just need to pull the trigger. And I grew up shooting competition pistols, so I fucking hit what I shoot at. Obviously, I didn't hit him. He ducked down in the car when I was shooting at him in the car. Lucky him, you know, he ducked out of the way. And I wasn't necessarily, I'd never been in a fucking gunfight before. I'd shot guns a million times. It's totally a different thing. So, and then it's a totally different thing when you're like right here in a gunfight with the dude that's trying to fucking kill you with a 45. Okay? I go into I'm in tunnel vision. I got him. He's fucking dead. And then my vision opens up. Lucky me. And I'm standing in the middle of a fucking one-way street, 2-lane one-way street. I'm in the middle of it. The whole street from the light, which is about a block up, to about a block down, is solid cars. Like, my gun is pointed. I'm looking down at a lady in her fucking car. She's looking up at me, terrified, and I'm like, oh fuck, you're a witness. This is bad. I'm out of here. So I fucking started running. And I'm just running down the street, right? I was running down the street, I had this gun in my fucking hand. So at one point I go, well, this is pretty effing suspicious. You know, there's gonna be cops looking for people that were just in a gunfight, and I'm running down the street with a gun. So I put the gun away, but I keep running. Then I start to get up to Hawthorne. Okay, I need to be cool now. So I stop running, and I just kind of mosey across the street. Now, I didn't look like the type of person that would carry a gun. I had like a hemp baseball cap on with my hair pulled back through the little cap thing. I had this corduroy shirt with leather patches like a LL Bean or Patagonia or something like that, like oversized shirt, dark green. I get up to the street and I just kind of easily walk across the street. When I get up to the street and I start crossing the street, I look over and the cops had already started to shut down the area. There was a cop car posted up on Hawthorne watching for suspects, and I walked right past. And the only thing I had on me was the gun, which I would have been pretty smart to throw away at that point, but I didn't. I walked to this bar, I go in and I use the payphone, and I call a cab, buy like a beer or something maybe, and pound it. I get the cab back to the warehouse, the glass shop warehouse, and I had to tell fucking Nick I just lost his 2 pounds. I lost his 2 pounds, and there was another fucking quarter pound in my backpack. When I dropped my backpack and pulled my gun out, the guy grabbed my backpack, he got that weed too. It was like 5 ounces, I think. That was devastating at the time. They heard the gunfight. I think they were suspicious. Everybody's always suspicious, never, you know, like I looked freaked out, but, you know, actually had a falling out with, like, Nick, like, I was paying him back or something on a real slow schedule, and he basically was just like, fuck off or something like this, and I don't want the money. And it was over just some kind of fucking, I don't even know, I can't even remember, but he was like that. That was when I stopped carrying a gun. I don't think I ever carried a gun after that. That was kind of the, I might have once or twice, I can't remember, but that was like, you know, I carried a gun for all these fucking years to save my ass, and then when it came down to it, it didn't save my ass. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, if it would have saved my ass, yeah, it doesn't, I don't even think it matters. In a drug deal gone bad, they don't even care. Like, you kill people, you're fucked. You're going to prison forever. Forget it. Lock him up and forget the key and shit. You know, you're not justified in protecting yourself if you're a weed dealer, basically. Which is just, you know, madness. That's what turns the whole country into shit. When you got people that can behave like pieces of shit because there's this caveat. Oh, we can go rip off drug dealers because they can't do shit about it. You know? So anyway, I had serious straight up PTSD, nightmares for years after that. I don't remember how much later it was. I was on my first ever trip to go to Las Vegas. I was going down ahead, but I was going down and the two Nicks were coming to hang out. Because the one Nick Singer turned into like this crazy gambler. He was probably card counting, if I had to guess, because he was smart enough to do shit like that. He was an expert at chess and like super genius level. Overall, he was kind of lazy. Like, he didn't want to work. You know, he liked to be a smart guy, like, but he was overweight. He didn't exercise. He was definitely had an anger problem. So years later, I'm on my fucking way to go to go to Vegas for the first time. Who is getting on the fucking plane with me? The black guy. Who's dropping him off? The white guy. Yeah. I literally had to get on a fucking plane with that fucking black dude. What do you do in a fucking airport, man? How was I being dropped off by my buddy? But I mean, he literally just dropped me off. I get out, I'm walking up, and it's like, most definitely, it was them. Unfucking believable. Those fucking pieces of shit, thieving ass motherfuckers. Yeah, I paid every dollar of that back too. It took me years because like fucking Nick got all pissed off at me and we parted ways. And I owed him some money, like I owed him some thousands, but then like years later when stuff started cracking off, I was still hanging out with Nick Singer, and he was still hanging out because they went to high school together. Yeah, I ended up paying him back, which, you know, cost me nowhere near the money I owed him to pay him back because of my price difference, which is cool, and everybody knows that. That's business.